doing here? Scare the shit out of me. Oh, chest pains. Steve Giles, Carbon Black. We're here with the Metal Crypt to talk about some of my most influential albums of all time, the top 4. Here we go. I want to make an important note before we start here. What I like listening to most of the time is new music. Yeah, I do occasionally go back and listen to some of the old albums, but I like new bands, and I like even my favourite bands. I like listening to their latest releases. It keeps it fresh, and it also inspires me in ways that I like hearing new things, and I like thinking, oh wow, I wonder how they did that. I wonder what made them go there. And I love hearing how their songwriting progressed from like their early albums and getting through like how bands get better and how things change. So that's what inspires me a lot. First cab off the rank. Happy, happy Halloween. Yeah, that's right. Halloween. I'm a fan of both eras of Halloween. I love the Derris era and I love the Michael Kiske era. I think that's all fantastic, and to hear them all together on this album is just unreal. How their vocals complement each other and how they've figured out those vocal lines and the harmonies, it just sounds magic. The songwriting's phenomenal. The sound is phenomenal. Those bass drums, my goodness, this album, it just does not get any better. Like this would have to be probably one of my top albums of all time. This album right here. If you haven't heard the new Halloween album, go out, grab it. You won't be disappointed. Yeah, because I love Ingo's drumming, and I love the Uli Kush albums. And when Uli was out of the band, I was just devastated. And I thought, who are they going to get now? What can they do? Then they did the album with Mickey D. That was really good. And then Danny Lobel, the new drummer, the drum parts he plays are just so spot on. It's just absolutely fantastic. And he full nails it on this album. Judas Priest, Firepower. Man, one of the greatest albums of Judas Priest. I love Judas Priest, and I like them because they're one of those bands that you never know what you're going to get. They're not like, say, Motorhead or Slayer, where you they release a new album and you can be pretty certain where it's going to lay. With Judas Priest, is it going to be a rock album? Is it going to be a metal album? Is it going to be bright and happy? This one's not as dark as their last couple of albums, which I think opens it up a lot more. Vocals. Rob Halford's vocals are just like soaring in this, and the vocal lines, the melodies and the hooks are just unbelievable. Of course, Scott Travis, you can't go wrong with him, and Richie Faulkner, guitar playing and the solos is just phenomenal on this album too. So Richie's just such an asset to that band. So yeah, Firepower, love Judas Priest. Anthrax, For All Kings. This is funny because I've actually got worship music here as well. I had to make a decision, so we'll go with For All Kings, but you could take either two, really. Like, since Joey come back in the band, 2 albums straight off the bat are just phenomenal. The songwriting, the drumming is unreal. The guitar, Scott's rhythm is just so tight, and the drum sound, everything's so tight, it really pushes it along. Joey's vocals are unreal, and just for a band to release 2 crushing albums in a row when just before that, it seemed like it was almost over, didn't it? But I've always loved Charlie Benani. The first time I heard Anthrax I was at my friend's house, and he had the Oid of Nickerfessen video. Nice fucking video. And Charlie was on there playing Gung Ho on his big Skull and Crossbones kit with the big Gibraltar rack, and it's so shiny. I loved that, and that just made me want to play drums, and that's where I started. Yeah. But I've always followed his career, and this album, it just tops it off. He's drumming, he gets better every time. Van Halen, A Different Kind of Truth. I love David Lee Roth. When he was back in Van Halen and they made this album, it was just my dream come true. I love David Lee Roth so much, I flew to Vegas to see him. He was doing solo shows over there. It was right, let's go. We're going to Vegas. And we took off, and coronavirus was about, and it was like, yeah, wash your hands, use sanitizer. By the time we landed in Vegas, it was, they closed a couple of the buffets and stuff over there, and they'd cancelled the big college basketball tournament that was going to be on that weekend. And we had a fun weekend, and slowly, over the weekend, what was supposed to be a 2 or 3 week holiday turned into like a 4-day long weekend, and then at the end of the weekend there was a notice under the door of our hotel room at the MGM Grand saying, get out. We're shutting the whole place because of coronavirus. So we didn't get to see David Lee Roth while we were there. We did get to fire some big guns, and I did a chopper ride into the Grand Canyon, but yeah, no David Lee Roth, which I was devastated about. But this album is a different kind of truth to me. You can imagine he's so witty, and his lyrics to me are great. His songs choices are really good. Obviously, he's always had great musicians around him, and his lyrics are very witty. And you can imagine all these lyrics are like little slithers of meat, and you could put them all together and compound them, and the glue you used, mix it all together and glue them all together into a nice fillet steak like the butchers do. This album's the glue, yeah. It's got just gems of wisdom all the way through it, and I just absolutely love it. All the way from, She's the Woman, and songs like Big River. I love me canoe. It's just that it doesn't stop. Alex Van Halen, his playing's on point. So's Eddie, does some really good solos and some good playing on this. Wolfgang is just the biggest surprise. You couldn't believe Michael Anthony wasn't going to be on this album. It was like, but Wolfgang done such a great job. He's a phenomenal player, and I love this album. It's probably one of the best Van Halen albums going, in my opinion. It's got that old school groove to it. To go with this album, one thing that I absolutely love is David Lee Roth put out a whole series of YouTube videos talking about the lyrics and explaining the lyrics and giving you run-throughs and everything. It's almost as inspirational as the actual album itself. If you haven't seen those, if you like this album, go onto YouTube and check out David Lee Roth and all the videos he did of like the lyric talk-throughs for this album. They're hilarious. I love David Lee Roth. It's fantastic. Wow! Anyway, I better get back to work here, right? Got plenty of practice to do. Calvin Black have got some big shows coming up. Big thanks to the Metal Crypt for having me, and let me know. Are they some of your favourite albums, or you don't rate those ones at all? Look, what ones are your favourite then? Anyway, peace out. Take care. Do 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 do.